came up with his white pickup truck along this street, Canal Street. That's the entrance to Bourbon right there. He jumps the curb and gets over a police car and then heads down Bourbon Street, starting his killing spree. And tonight we've learned his truck wasn't his only weapon. He also had a firearm and an explosive device. In the opening hours of the new year, terror on the streets of New Orleans. Cell phone video capturing the scene of bodies sprawled out along the city's famed Bourbon Street.
Respond to Allen Bourbon.
The wounded being treated while still laying in the road.
We're dealing with EMS right now. Right now, we're working in a triage area.
Video courtesy of EarthCam showing police racing towards the carnage where a driver plowed his pickup truck into the crowds in the historic French Quarter. In this video, you can see the truck getting around a police cruiser, blocking the entrance to Bourbon, then racing through the street packed with revelers, killing as many as 15 and injuring dozens of others.
He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
All right, that's it. I give in. Let's go ahead and just do it. Ban every car that can go over 20 miles an hour, since that's the lowest speed at which a car hitting a person can be fatal. Require a background check for every car sold in the US. You can't drive into any state unless you have that state's driver's license. Let's ban parking cars at schools and government buildings. Ban all electric vehicles because they're too quiet, making them silent killers. You never hear them coming. Oh, and let's pass purple flag laws where people can report you and have your car taken away if they think you're a danger to yourself or others. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Sounds outright stupid, actually. Yeah, that's exactly how we in the gun community feel when the same logic is applied to guns. Look, I don't enjoy making these types of I told you so videos, but here we are. I've done several videos recently about people using vehicles to commit mass killings, and each time I pointed out that no gun law would have stopped those tragedies. Many of these incidents happen in countries with extremely strict gun control laws, and yet here we are again, except now in the US, with a mass killing using a truck. The uncomfortable truth is, if someone wants to kill a lot of people, a gun isn't even the most efficient tool. It's honestly a vehicle. Find a large crowd, get behind the wheel, and weaponize it. It's disgusting to think about, but it's the reality. We've been told the lie for so long that it's all about the so-called assault weapons being the ultimate killing machine. Yet this guy just killed 10 people in less than a minute with a truck. Remember Nice, France? You can't own guns like that there. Yet a man killed nearly 90 people with a truck. In this case, the attacker had a gun, a so-called assault weapon, even then, but his weapon of choice was the truck. He chose that over the gun because he knew it could do more damage faster. He did this in one of the most heavily policed areas in New Orleans during an event. There were barricades designed specifically to stop vehicles, yet he still managed to get in and kill 10 people. And guess what? He rented that truck. Was there a background check for it? Did it stop him? No. Just like universal background checks don't stop criminals from getting guns. I just did a video about two 12-year-olds trying to rob a man with a gun they clearly didn't legally obtain. Think a background check would have stopped them? Of course not. So why do we keep pushing these ineffective laws? Now, how did this guy get stopped? By people with guns. Sure, it was police this time, but even with all the cops there, he still managed to kill 10 people before they could respond. This is the same problem with so-called gun-free zones. This was a vehicle-free zone. You couldn't drive down Bourbon Street. It was barricaded. Yet, here we are. The only difference between a gun-free zone and a non-vehicle zone is that at least the non-vehicle zone has physical barriers. In most gun-free zones, all you get is a sign in a door saying no guns allowed. Real effective, right? But let's be honest. The only way to stop a mass killing with a vehicle in progress is either the vehicle crashes into something that stops it, or someone with a gun stops the driver. That's it. And that's exactly how this ended. Someone with a gun stopped the killer. So whether it's a cop or a concealed carrier, good people with guns are the last line of defense. And no, I don't want to hear the argument that only cops should have guns. Cops can't be everywhere at once. You can see it in the footage. The cops had to run towards the chaos while people were already being killed. Imagine if there was someone who was already armed in that exact place and time. Now, I'm not saying someone with a gun would have guaranteed 0 casualties. Sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if the vehicle kept moving through the crowd, an armed citizen could have stopped it or at least reduced the body count. Creating more gun laws isn't going to stop mass violence. This proves it. And if anything, disarming good people just makes these situations worse because it leaves them completely vulnerable. The tool isn't the problem. The situation is. That's why incidents like Virginia Tech had such a high body count, because the shooter had complete control of the environment, not because of the type of gun he used. He used a 9mm and a .22. This was supposed to be one of the most secure areas in New Orleans, yet this still happened. Think about that the next time you hear someone say you should give up your rights for safety, relying entirely on the government for protection. It isn't realistic. And this incident makes that painfully clear. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now, you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together, we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.